Deshaun Watson has been on an absolute tear lately, but is he still better than Russell Wilson? What is up, guys? Ativ here. And in this video, I'll be talking about who's better, Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. Now, let's look at the numbers, alright? Deshaun Watson, 24 touchdowns to 6 interceptions with a 110 rating. His most recent game versus the Colts, he had 341 yards, but guess what? 0 touchdowns and an interception, along with an 85.5 passer rating. He had one game with 163 yards, but all of his other games have had a minimum of 250 yards from what it looks like, which is absolutely insane to think about. He has 3,542 yards, and if we look at the numbers, Russell Wilson has better numbers in most of the categories. He has more touchdowns, but he has more interceptions at the same time, by quite a bit. He has 5 more interceptions and around 8 more touchdowns. He has less yards though, Russell Wilson, but it's only by 100, around 100, like 60, 65. I think that Russell Wilson, I don't think he's actually going to get as many yards as Deshaun Watson, considering Deshaun Watson has had 3 games in a row with over 300 yards. That's just amazing to think about. And in the Colts game, first of all, the Colts have one of the best pass defenses in the league, so let's not count that out. And second of all, Deshaun Watson still threw for 341 yards. Oh, and Deshaun Watson should have won this game, but his center, who's actually born in Indianapolis, he blew the game because of that muffed hike. So I think that Deshaun Watson deserved to win that game, and I feel like he could have gotten his first he got a rushing touchdown in this game. He didn't get a single passing touchdown. I think he could have honestly gotten his first passing touchdown if their center didn't muff the hike, of course. But, I mean, honestly, Deshaun Watson, he's been playing at an MVP level, and Russell Wilson, he's definitely not been playing at an MVP level anymore. I mean, he's had 2 games in a row with only 1 touchdown, whereas in Deshaun Watson's last game, he went 4 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. And I mean, Russell Wilson, he only had 1 touchdown to 0 interception versus the Eagles. Like, come on now, Eagles, sure they have a decent pass defense, but their pass defense has been pretty underwhelming this season. I expected much more. And I mean, Russell Wilson, he had a game with 0 touchdowns to 2 interceptions versus the Rams with a 57 rating. I mean, he started the season off insane though. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then, ever since, I guess you could say, after that Niners game, he just looked different. Like the Bills game, 2 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Rams game, 0 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Cardinals game was pretty good though, 2 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, but only 197 yards. Eagles game, 1 touchdown to 0 interception, and Giants game, I was literally yelling when the Seahawks lost that Giants game because I'm a Niners fan. I was so happy. Russell Wilson, his performance, oh my gosh. That Giants secondary looked like the best secondary in the NFL. That Giants team just looked like the best defense in the NFL that game. I mean, Leonard Williams was a beast that game. 2 sacks? But that's it. But that's for Russell Wilson. On Deshaun Watson's side, tell me who has a better surrounding cast. This is a very easy answer, I feel like. It's undoubtedly the Seahawks. Deshaun Watson, literally, he lost Will Fuller, David Johnson. He's been injured forever. And, I mean, Deshaun Watson, his receivers, he literally lost DeAndre Hopkins. Russell Wilson, he has the receiver with the most receiving yards in the NFL right now, with 1,119. You gotta give some credit to Russell Wilson for it, but, like, DK Metcalf, I mean, I think that DK Metcalf's been making plays left and right. Oh, and let's not forget that play versus the Cardinals. Second best play of the season, probably. First was by DeAndre Hopkins, who should be on Deshaun Watson's team right now, let's not forget. But honestly, I think that Deshaun Watson, to answer the question on the title, I think Deshaun Watson is better than Russell Wilson. More yards, less touchdowns, but less interceptions at the same time. Better rating, way worse surrounding cast. And I mean, he had to be with Bill O'Brien. Look, Bill O'Brien, ever since they fired Bill O'Brien, Romeo Crennel has been a great coach. I think that they should keep him. But you have to give Deshaun Watson a bunch of credit. Imagine Deshaun Watson in the Seahawks right now. I think that he would be the MVP of the NFL. Like, if he was on the Chiefs, even if Russell Wilson was on the Chiefs, he'd be the MVP of the NFL. The Chiefs could make any QB look insane. Like, that's how good of a team they are. So don't put it on the Chiefs. Put it on the Seahawks. I think that that's a pretty decent point. Or even the Niners. I think that if Deshaun Watson was on the Niners, he'd still be an MVP right now. I mean, he can just break away from sacks so easily. And he's just probably one of the best players at getting out of the pocket behind. I think that honestly, I will say Russell Wilson is undoubtedly the best player at getting out of the pocket and extending the play. But Deshaun Watson, he's a very close second right now. His O-line is terrible, but I will say Russell Wilson's O-line is terrible as well. But I mean, Russell Wilson's defense, it's been looking terrible. Although the defense did have a pretty good game against the Giants. Deshaun Watson's defense, honestly, you can make a case for it being worse. Like, they literally lost Bradley Roby, who was one of their better players. That's how bad their defense is. So, in conclusion, I'll give it to Deshaun Watson for being the better player. I think that Deshaun Watson is the better player because Russell Wilson just hasn't looked good at all. The 49ers did something to him, man. Ever since that game, he's been looking not too hot. I mean, the last time he had a rating, he had a 100 rating, over 100 rating versus the Eagles, but by barely. It was a 102.9. His completion percentage dropped as well to a 70, but Deshaun Watson is a 68.8, so I think they both have very good completion percentages. My main reason for this, me doing all of this, I just want to show that Deshaun Watson is better. Like, on the NFL list last week, they said Deshaun Watson was better. I thought that they were crazy for that. But now, I really agree with them. I honestly think Deshaun Watson's the third best QB in the league, and Russell Wilson's fourth. I can't put him there. Sure, he's been pretty clutch this season, but that game versus the Giants, he had a chance to be clutch. He just wasn't clutch. And then again, Deshaun Watson wasn't. I'm not going to put the blame on Deshaun Watson for that Colts game. Like, I think that is unfair to put the blame on Deshaun Watson for that game. And although I will say Russell Wilson, I think that it's a bit unfair to blame all the sacks he's been getting on him because his O-line is terrible. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson being a better player. Sorry if you disagree with me. You can just leave a comment below. You can dislike this video if you want. You can do whatever you want. But that is it for this video, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.